All right. Welcome to the boardroom. Um, I'm I guess the host, Bagel Mode.
Boo.
I'm the CEO and owner. I'm joined by our CFO, Magic, our COO, Poplio, and our intern, Melly.
Hey.
um, yeah.
Rise and shine. It's almost 8 p.m.
All right, so let's just start out. What the has everyone been playing this week? Oh, yeah, now I have to go edit out that swear. But what's everyone been playing this week?
Fallout.
All right,
And
so hang on, Fallout 4. All right,
yeah.
how's that been going?
So I just loaded it up again, and what thing did I put that in? That photo.
You definitely put that photo into mine in the memes chat.
Okay. Well, I'll just post it here because it's a funny photo. This is what I just loaded into. Preston's up on a roof and there's a Brahmin in the house. So.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It was into bagels.
Oh, that's fine.
It's a fun place to spawn.
And how is Fallout going for you?
It's good. I've only died like 100 times because I absolutely suck at video games. But it's good.
All right. What's everybody else been playing?
I have recently played and beat the game Labyronia.
All right,
God.
let's hear your essay. Let's hear it.
Alright, so first off, my initial impressions were far worse than the game needed, mostly because I just started playing it after going halfway through Undertale. So my impression may have been highly skewed.
Literally the best game of probably the last decade, but Undertale.
So in order to understand what I have an entire sheet of what I liked and disliked about the game and what could have been done better. But first, to understand things a little bit better, I'm gonna have I go through a quick rundown of the plot because I feel like it makes the setting make more sense.
All right.
So the third greatest method of creating world peace.
Destroying
In order to prevent the other countries from fighting each other, you prevent the other countries from finding each other by making the entire world a giant maze.
What?
Now, so basically the entire map is all maze-like, where you have to figure out your way through all of them, like one block or one tile wide type mazes. However, luckily for me and my brain, there actually is some good design in most of the mazes, being like a slightly different tile path on the intended way from the entrance to the exit. Of course, this is not always the case in the later mazes, and it doesn't help you get through the maze, because typically you have to interact with certain items in order to unlock the gate at the end of the maze. But, so yeah, that's pretty much all the maps are mazes, which I actually kind of am okay with for most of them, except for the ones where the map becomes open, where it's kind of like an open world, except everything is maze-like. Mostly because what that does is what the game designer did is they made it so the map loops on itself. So you can't judge where you are based off of anything easily, because if you go down too far, you end up at the top of the map. So it's like literally my least favorite level is this desert where they literally give you a map of this is where all the things are located, and it's like there's no color to it or anything. It's just like generalized locations. So there's no like other landmarks or anything.
All right.
And it took me a good 2 hours to find everything in there. And then I had to journey back for for another reason, which I'll get into later. I felt like the boss battles were actually well made. One of the most interesting things that I ran into was in the final boss, they killed off your NPC companions, starting with the healer.
Oh.
So you actually had to strategize and not just spam things, although a lot of it was still spamming because it's an RPG. But I actually kind of liked that. It actually made some challenge involved in it. In order to progress in the game, you need, magic is a big thing, like casting it and using it to heal and whatnot. But one interesting thing that they did was make it locked behind exploration, where you had to interact with different items in order to gain more spells. What I
Okay.
didn't like was the fact that it was practically mandatory to have certain spells in order to beat the game at all. So I like the exploration aspect. I'm not quite fond of the mandatory certain spells aspect.
All right, that's fair.
I had a few, let's see. Yeah, I had a few boss fights where they weren't really well designed, especially the first one, because I had missed the area. So this was me being over leveled, and it took me a while to beat it, simply because it was filled with a bunch of creatures that would debuff you, and the debuff of choice was to make you unable to hit things.
Oh, jeez.
I could one-shot everything if I could hit it, but it took me like 4 minutes to kill 6 enemies because I kept missing everything. So the first boss fight was not great, but everything else I actually thought was pretty fine. Let's see. I think this was an RPG Maker thing, but it was hard to judge how strong you'd be at every level because you just like the stat progression was so wildly different. I have in my notes that at level 5, an enemy would do like 50 damage to you, and then without changing any of the inventory, at level 10. At level 7, they do 10 damage to you. Like, I'm not exactly sure
Oh, jeez.
what the damage calculation of anything was, other than bigger number good. But I think that was more of an RPG Maker thing than this game in particular. Yeah, so I feel like they did an excellent job of keeping with the theme, even if I hated it in terms of gameplay. Like I said, the boss fights were good. The dialogue was funny in this fact that it was like the most like rushed thing ever. One of my favorite dialogues was setting up you being the guy investigating a murder mystery, and you being like, "Hey, I'm a fan of murder mysteries," and they're like, "Oh, okay, you can be in charge then." And being like, "Ah, okay, I guess that makes me the protagonist again." Let's see. What else in my notes? There were just a few things that were pointlessly annoying. Like there was a city which had cracks on the ground, and if you stepped on the cracks, you'd fall into a labyrinth you already beat, and that was not fun. But it turns out, and I would not have found this without the walkthrough, if you step on a single crack and you fall down, it takes it to a different part of the labyrinth where you can get one of the cues for casting a magic spell. So apparently, you had to fall down one of the holes. Let's see. I have written down one of my favorite moments was basically being able to kill certain enemies earlier than intended. Has like you were basically told, oh yeah, these things are horrible and super dangerous and whatnot, and then you get one magic item and it completely negates their horror factor, and it was a good time in that sense. All in all, if I were to give it a rating out of 10, with like 5 being an average game, I would give it like a 6 out of 10. In terms of a standard rating, I guess that would be a 7 out of 10. If 10 is just good and 5 is terrible.
I'm surprised, honestly, that
if you get used to the whole, like I said, I was very much skewed due to playing Undertale right before it.
Yeah. But the way you were, to put it lightly, complaining about the game to me earlier, I am very surprised that you.
At the point, sorry. I guess I should also mention, about halfway through the game, you start moving from a walking pace, moving around the map, to a like 4 times the speed movement.
Ah.
So basically, the terrible progression pacing basically ended halfway through the game. So it was pretty much just more of a matter of just running from boss fight to boss fight, as opposed to anything else, which, like I said before, was pretty solid, actually. So it was more of the beginning has a very sluggish feel, where you don't have... where if you miss the one dialogue that says where to go, you pretty much don't know where you're going, other than you have several areas to go to. And if you die horribly, you obviously shouldn't go there. Although I say that, but I walked way far off the path I was intended on going initially, just because I didn't realize there was an area I could go to. So, I mean, I guess I could have continued on going and then realized I missed an earlier game dungeon and missed that entire section. Which, I mean, I was doing okay with missing it, which is probably why I was having such a hard time in regular fights earlier on. But yeah, I think, I think overall, like I said, it was an alright experience, with the boss fights being pretty good, the maps being annoying, and the dialogue being hilariously weird. I'm kind of interested to see how they did better in the sequel, or if they did better in the sequel. Yeah, because
okay.
there is the possibility of getting rid of all the mazes at the end of the game. So I'm like, oh boy, the most annoying part is gone. So it might be far better. All right, and that's just my abridged version of my paper.
All right, Poplio, what have you been playing this week?
I might have forgotten to branch out to new games this week.
All right, tell us about League of Legends.
Well,
Oh,
no. We played Valorant and some League. And,
I see. Really diversifying here.
Yeah. And a little bit of Mount Your Friends last week too. That was a lot of fun. But it's the same old. Valorant, we're ranking up pretty quickly. In beta, only made it to like Silver 1, so like low silver. We're already Gold 2.
How do
Gold
ranks work in Valorant?
Same as CS:GO.
Oh. So, how do ranks work in Valorant?
In
you
terms
just
like
play a lot and you get a better rank.
Okay. Okay, wise guy.
it's based off of your performance and also the outcome of the game. So if you do really well and you win, it will tell you that you gained a lot of rating that game. And if you do really well and you lose, it'll say, oh, you only lost a little bit.
Okay.
So it's nice because it actually tells you, unlike CS:GO, where CS:GO is just like, you assume. But it seems relatively easy to know when you're gonna rank up and when you're gonna demote.
Okay.
And right now I'm playing with like platinum players, so being a gold player, it's very easy to rank up. Like I think my entire team was plat and I was gold, and then
So,
I was like second frag or something.
are you more or less boosting with a bunch of guys who are much higher level than you, or are you just playing and the game's putting you with platinum dudes?
I was put with it. I haven't queued with anyone.
Okay.
Well, I haven't queued with anyone recently. I queued with someone beginning of last week, but he hasn't been online.
Okay. And so
Now, are you worried about ending up at a higher rank than your skill actually accounts for?
don't worry, he's not good enough for that.
I mean,
because you're boosting faster than normal because you're ending up with platinum players.
Well, I mean, I would be, but I was beating them, so I'm not necessarily worried about it yet. But when we get up to, I think it'll start correcting itself once I start like losing the higher players, and we'll get put down with. Like I think once I hit diamond players, I'll start getting my kicked. Oh, sorry, I need to not swear, right?
I can beep everything out later, so I'm not too worried about that.
All right, well, I'll still try to tone it down because I know I swear quite a bit sometimes. But I'm pretty sure like when I get to diamond players, it'll start getting more difficult. But I think a lot of it is like with all that like the CS:GO practice we put in for a little bit, my game sense and like when not to peek, when to peek, I think is helping, and my shot is slowly getting better.
Okay.
So.
Does anybody know how to get into the armory in Fallout 4? It's a closed door. It's sealed. The lady's like, "Hey, we have to get in here. Find a way in here." I've just been going around in circles for the past like 15 minutes. Where is the
confident. Let's see. The armory is like a military armory.
Yeah.
I'm fairly confident there's a guard tower before the building itself.
No,
which you
the
can
whole
open it from there.
thing is. It's for the Minutemen part of it.
Here, let me look it up for you because I've already beat the game, so there's no spoilers involved for me.
There are aliens in Fallout. That is so dumb.
It's been in there since Fallout 1.
Yeah, man. Like, what are you expecting?
It's Fallout. There should be aliens in Fallout.
As someone who's never really played, from what I've heard, it makes sense that aliens should be. Actually, I have seen it played a little bit too, so it looks like something.
Okay, you're gonna hate me for this.
Oh god, now I have to bleep her name.
You need to. Sorry.
You don't have to.
You're going to need to access the workshop interface. Basically, as if you're crafting.
Been in the workshop interface as I'm walking around this place.
No, and you're just going to click on the rubble and delete it.
There's no rubble that I can click on.
It's the stuff that's blocking the entrance to the armory.
The stuff that's blocking the entrance to the armory is a big door. It's like a sealed off door.
Well,
sorry. In order to access it, there's another way, which is just a bunch of rubble. It is through the northeast bastion.
Alright, so I will talk briefly about what I've been playing this week. I have taken it upon myself to try and replay. So I've been. Oh god, I've been going through a lot of stuff. So, I'm playing.
I just threw.
Real quick. What have you been playing this week?
Thank you. I'll be sure to edit that before I just start talking. I have been playing, what's it called? The Half-Lifes. I've been playing the first Half-Life, mostly because It just works. It's pretty decent. I played through Half-Life 2, Episode 2, and frickin' Episode 1. And honestly, Half-Life 1, it really shows its age as a game that's old enough to drink. Like there was a time when I was walking through a minefield, and the game tells you it's a minefield by just going, hey, check it out, it's a minefield. And you're just supposed to quick save your way through it and hope that you don't blow yourself up too terribly on it.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, the game's like, oh, that's an instant kill. Like, sorry, but, like, you're gonna get hit with it. Oh, well.
You can't react to it, or...
Nope, it's just you step on it, you die. Once again, this game is old enough to drink, it's old enough to vote, it's...
Well, if it's old enough to drink, it's old enough to vote.
Yeah. But, like, it is a really old game, and it shows. Like, there's a time, like, normally in games, you expect that if you screw up and you're going to fail, the game will tell you this stuff, okay? But in Half-Life, it doesn't do that sometimes. So, for example, there's a part in it when you have to, there's a bunch of doors that are going to shut. And if you throw, like, an explosive, if you sneeze near them, if you do anything near them, they shut, okay? And once they shut, you cannot reopen them, alright? I was having an issue where, they kept, my door...
Who?
I would, like, throw grenades, and then the doors would shut, and I would have no ability to reopen them whatsoever. And the game doesn't tell you that, oh, yeah, that's the end of it. Like, you can't do that. So I, like, spent a bunch of time going, man, this is weird. I can't get these doors open. I wonder if there's a way around. No, like, you just have to reload. Like, it's an old game. It's an old game, and, like, I shouldn't be surprised by this stuff.
Are you sure you're not just terrible at games?
I'm 100% that's not it. I know that much, alright? Like, it's just an old game, and there's dumb things in them sometimes, so it's just like, yeah, get screwed. Yeah. So that's been mildly frustrating. I have gone back, and I've been playing Depth, because I just have to.
It's not a new game for you, though.
It's not.
You play that all the time.
But it's just so good. It's so good. It's so simple. It's easy. There isn't that much. I really want to write an article called "On the Eighth Day, God Made the Asymmetrical Shooter," because there are so many good asymmetrical shooters, and I absolutely love asymmetrical shooters.
What?
And
what defines as an asymmetrical shooter?
So,
I've never heard that term before.
So here's the issue, alright? There's no good term for the games I like, alright?
Okay.
The games I like are the ones in which you get to... Oh, gosh. You have one team who is generally human, alright? They have guns and whatnot. And then there's another team who is generally non-human, alright? So they could be monsters, they could be dinosaurs, yep, they could be, oh god, what's the other thing called? Sharks, yeah, that's what they're called, like... Look, man, my brain's not smart. Like, there's such a varied composition of what you can do for an asymmetrical shooter. But the issue is asymmetrical shooter is it's a broad term. You could... Like, Counter-Strike is technically an asymmetrical shooter, alright? The counter-terrorists have access to different weapons than the terrorists, and thus the game is asymmetrical because they have different objectives.
Dude?
What?
So is Valorant technically asymmetrical then?
No.
Because
silhouette
you have
in
different
the
objectives.
It's like the Iron Robot from the Iron Giant. That's all it looks like to me.
What are you talking about?
I'm playing Fallout. I
Oh.
look up and there's just a silhouette in the mist in the background of just the Iron Giant.
Oh, what's its face Prime? Liberty. That's his name.
That
Don't
is
worry, it is basically a giant American robot
fairly disturbing.
that screams out anti-communist propaganda.
Yep.
Oh, perfect.
Um,
You have lied to me. There is no entrance anywhere in the northeast ballista.
Alright, well, I told you the solution that was offered by the Wikipedia. It's your mission to figure out where that is.
I've been running around the building for the past however many minutes.
You need to use the building mechanics to just delete the giant pile of rubble wherever the giant pile of rubble is located.
There were 2 piles of rubble. They were both labeled Army Ballista Rubble, or like broken or whatever it was. I deleted both of them. Nothing happened.
No, one of those is a passageway to the armory.
Wasn't a passageway to the army. Oh. You hush. I just found it.
So, just to be clear, the games I really like to play are games in which, you know, you have one side who is human, you have one side who is not human, and, you know, they fight accordingly. And I just think they're so much fun. There's a lot more diversity in what you can do with them in terms of gameplay, I feel. It's so rewarding to play and enjoy, and I love it. And I just... I wish there were more games like it, obviously. But...
There's so many frag mines. If you had a base that was basically like an army fort, would you put frag mines in the basement?
I mean, you could.
No! It's stupid. You don't expect anyone else to be in there.
I'm fairly confident they retreated from that base, so yeah, it makes sense to me.
No, they retreated because a big monster was attacking. Do you honestly think that
Yes, and you
big-ass
blow
monster
up
is
anybody
attacking-
trying to
Yes.
raid them, because the world is filled with raiders.
I just found a bunch of cannonballs.
My source of my citation is World War I and World War II, where they would put explosive traps inside their own bunkers when they abandoned them.
So yeah, I love asymmetrical shooters, but there's just no
What?
good ones on the market right now. Like,
Well, I mean, it's just because our asymmetrical gameplay period is hard to balance and make. It's far easier to just have side A just be a reskin of side B.
yeah, that's really true. But it's just
It might be interesting to see, assuming that the Star Wars game is good, that might actually be an interesting possibility of it being asymmetrical. It depends
oh
on
yeah.
I mean,
how the ships are balanced against each other.
I was gonna say, isn't that just kind of like a reskin on each side, though?
It might be. We don't know.
It depends on if the TIE fighter is directly analogous to the X-wing.
Yeah.
They might have the same stats. They might not have the same stats. In universe, they don't have the same stats.
Well, I mean, how, like, I don't know, how in universe can you be in terms of like balancing? I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, it could be that they're exactly the same. It could be that they're slightly different.
Ooh, Sentry Bot's gonna kill me. Oh, Sentry Bot's getting closer.
So I'm.
Speaking of games coming out, did you want to talk about those?
All right. Yeah. Let's get to the
Okay,
news.
I hate that Pokemon thing that you sent us.
Which one? Which one?
Everything.
Okay, hang on. Let's
first
let,
one- it's
no,
not
no. Stop. Let's talk about Smile first. Smile is the more interesting of the two, personally. Okay. Where, all right, so for those of you that don't know, that are following along at home, okay, Pokemon Smile is where it's an augmented reality thing where your kids use their phones to basically look like a Pokemon while they brush their teeth. And honestly, I think it's fantastic. I think it is fan-freaking-tastic.
I see no problem with Pokemon Smile. I think you also might be able to use your motions while brushing in order to capture Pokemon.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Although without having the app itself, it's kind of hard to tell from the commercial.
But no, I think Pokemon Smile is great and fantastic. It's if I were a parent, I would definitely want this kind of thing to help.
All right, apparently Pokemon Smile is for free on the App Store.
Oh, it's available now. Oh crap.
Stupid. Hate it.
It's a free thing too.
Oh, that
Yes.
doesn't surprise me, honestly.
And there's no in-app purchases because it's meant for small children.
Oh.
I would assume. I hope that there are no in-app purchases because it's for small children.
Yeah, cripes.
So they, that's kind of nice of them to do.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know, I'm just so not used to a company like not doing something for.
Once again, this
monetary gain.
probably took them not that much effort to program in, and
Well, yeah,
you know,
it's like a filter basically where.
yeah. But like,
so they really don't need a high monetization system for it. And it's for small children. I mean, they're gonna make far much more money off of Pokemon Go and other Pokemon games that the loss of not having in-app purchases is really made up for by the fact that it spreads the word of Pokemon to small children, so they buy the games.
That's true. I guess marketing. It's kind of just
yeah.
kind of does the marketing. For
Although
the
I
other
like the
Pokemon
fact that I just downloaded the game.
You
Countries
did.
of residence: Japan, South Korea, other Asian country, other. I have never seen the United States as other before.
Hey, for once we are not the center of the world.
I wonder what the distribution of
Pokemon players is?
yeah, because I feel like you have a lot of Pokemon players in the U.S., but it's probably nowhere near.
Probably not, but alright, so Pokemon Smile is the one I just want to talk about because I thought that was funny. But let's talk about the real Pokemon game that we all care about, which is the Pokemon MOBA on mobile.
So there's a MOBA.
I hate it.
So
I
hate it.
yeah,
It's
take a
not
quick look
Pokemon.
under news, alright, watch the video. It's
Alright.
pretty weird / interesting. It's worth a view.
Okay.
But literally, there's a Pokemon MOBA where you catch Pokemon, alright, and instead of towers, you have capture zones where you send your Pokemon to, basically, where you capture Pokemon that you had previously, whatchamacallit?
Caught.
Yes. Oh, you also play as Pokemon. You don't play as trainers in this. And you have to... Oh, God, it's just such a weird game. So you capture things at you like recapture your things at towers, and then you after you have captured your Pokemon at towers. You then get to shoot.
You capture wild Pokemon, you get points. You attack their goal, you get points.
Yeah, thank you for actually filling in as I was rewatching the video to remember how it worked.
You want more points by the end of the game
Than your
than
opponent.
the other team.
That just seems so odd. Why?
And no,
Why branch into that
here's
market?
the thing. I would be fine with this if it had Pokemon typing.
You are
typing?
you are clearly
No type advantage whatsoever
Oh,
about
okay.
having a water type Pokemon versus a fire type Pokemon.
You-
I was picturing like the Pokemon typing at a computer.
Oh. You thought they meant, oh my god, that is,
I'm dumb. Don't
oh
listen to
my
me.
god.
me kick Poplio.
Yeah, they can't.
Like, I understand that they can't do that because it's like super restricted for like just a mobile game, but like, what's the point in what's the point in making a mobile game saying it's Pokemon when they're taking out the core function of Pokemon?
So I think it's for gameplay. So first off, in the general competitive edge, that would be atrocious.
Yeah, it would make steel types very strong. And
Well, like, that's the thing though, is they don't have to add every single Pokemon there is. They could just say, hey, we have fire, grass, and water type Pokemon, and if you don't like any of those, then here's dark, psychic, and ghost type Pokemon. Or something like that.
they
Or dark, psychic,
definitely
and
should
fighting.
not have any Pokemon that are immune to other types. But yeah.
Pretty.
Well, see, my biggest thing is that, first off, it's another Pokemon game that isn't Pokemon.
I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well, I do, because I know it's just gonna make bank loads of money, and they're not gonna put any efforts in their next Pokemon games like they have been doing for the last few years. But it's also just the fact that I don't know how playable it will be, because Nintendo typically doesn't have great online service.
Ooh. I never thought about that.
Starting mini nuke a door that's about 10 meters
Yes.
away.
Yes. Anyway, so if you look closely at the trailer, you could there's a few times where it looks like it might be chugging.
Oh.
Might be
Oh.
chugging.
Going
It's
slowly,
lagging.
Then
I've never heard that term used as lagging
and
before.
it might be just me nitpicking and looking for things wrong, but I know for a fact though that Nintendo services are not the greatest when it comes to online multiplayer.
I'm surprised you've never heard the term chugging before to describe.
I thought it was pretty common. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, you
Maybe
just
just-
might be new to PC gaming.
I've literally played League for 7 years.
And you've never heard chugging. That's on you, man. But,
It's not something commonly used.
well, congratulations and welcome to one of the 10,000 people that now learns this.
Oh, it's much more than that.
Well, no. There's a great comic that talks about how every day, if everyone is to know something by the time I forget what age, that means 10,000 people learn about that thing for the first time that day. So that would make you one of the 10,000 because you just learned about this.
Or you know.
So, well, welcome to being one of the 10,000 that learns about chugging for their PC when it, chugs and dies. Yeah. All right. So that was.
But also, I forget who it is, but they've got one of the developers involved in it is somebody
Oh,
with
yeah.
a bit of a negative reputation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Also, yeah, if the YouTube video has been taken down several times because they basically are clearing the dislike to like ratio.
What?
Yeah,
Oh, holy crap!
they've done it several times, I think. At
Say
least
that
once.
again.
They've at least once taken down the video in order to clear the like to dislike ratio.
Wow.
Huh.
That's. Huh.
Right now the video has 5.3 thousand likes to 7,000 dislikes,
Oof.
but 300,000 people have viewed it, which seems a little off, considering it's the biggest franchise in the world for only having 12,000 likes or dislikes total.
Yeah, that's a little suspicious, some would say.
Interesting. Well, I mean, it makes sense. I would not...
I mean, it could be good, but my hopes are not high.
See, I think this is something to appeal to little kids. I don't think this is to appeal to us. I don't think the people playing this are going to worry about if it is good or not. I think the people playing this are going to worry about, am I having fun and do my friends play it? I think this is designed for little kids overall.
Tencent is, I think, the...
Oh my god, oh god, okay.
Not touching the game ever.
It says the guy that plays games that are like almost exclusively Tencent properties, but whatever.
That's what I'm saying. That's why you're not playing it.
Oh, I thought you said you're not playing it. I was like, what do you mean you're not? Yeah, no, I will never touch this game. But gosh. Ugh. So
I mean, there is the small possibility that I'm wrong and it's good, but I don't have high hopes for it being great.
Yep.
And it's a game none of the fans wanted.
Well, what do Pokemon fans want? All right, you know what they want? They want the exact same game that they've been given every single time.
No, we want a better version of the exact same game.
I'm sorry. My bad.
I mean,
Even if it's only
we want the
slightly
Pokemon
better.
company to put an effort in their next game.
I mean, occasionally they want new characters.
Well, that comes with the game. Please.
Half of what's keeping the Pokemon fan base alive is the waifus, all right?
Oh my god.
And that's not a great reason for a company with the biggest franchise available to have be keeping up the fans.
Oh gosh.
All right, any other news?
So this is old one, but ESRB is to require games, so you know how it's rated T for teen, M for mature, etc., etc. Games now have to say whether or not they include loot boxes. Any thoughts on that? Because that I think is interesting because... So, alright, I will weigh in as someone who has watched a documentary on the ESRB and how it functions. Basically, they work in the interest of parents. So if a parent is like, hey, this is something we're concerned about, we will put labels on it. So, the times I have seen documentaries on, they've gone, parents are concerned that there is, like, violence or sex or nudity or etc. in a game, then they will begin to label it and the like. And then how in this, they're labeling it where most parents were not concerned with loot boxes whatsoever. And so that I find is very, very interesting that that this is... It almost comes from more the consumer themselves and not the whatchamacallem, and not from the parents, where the ESRB is like they are the parental group, or however, what is the word I'm looking for? Parental
Guardians. I don't know.
The people that are buying the games, where they're buying it for their kids. I don't know what to say.
I mean,
The
could it,
money
be with,
bags.
could it just be like an issue that parents have been having with games like Fortnite or?
It might be.
Like
That'd be an interesting take, where because my kid is spending all this money, what's going on?
Because I've heard a lot of horror stories where kids spend like $2,000 without their parents.
Oh
even
yeah,
knowing.
that I think we all know about. It's just very interesting to me.
Oh, okay. That was fun. What was that?
What now?
I just blew up an entire room.
Filled with
Is that
people?
some?
I'm not surprised.
No, it was just filled with gas. So, that was fun. Anyway, I'm just gonna move back, because I think I might have killed a bot that I wasn't supposed to, and now I can't get into the armory. So,
That sounds like the problem I've been having with Half-Life. Oops, wasn't supposed to do that. Oops.
it's opening.
Alright, what else is a good piece of news? Steam Summer Sale, obviously. Oh, okay, this is a fun one. Mixer is shutting down. Microsoft is partnering with Facebook Gaming. So, for those of you that don't know, okay, Mixer is,
It was supposed to be the thing to contest Twitch.
Yes, and Microsoft sunk a ton of money into it.
Especially into stealing talent.
Yes, that was the big thing they did. Is they took Ninja and Shroud, who are two very large and influential streamers there, and they
It wasn't even just those. They took a bunch of like medium tier streamers.
Yep, but it was but they did that, and they paid them something like $20 million a piece. It was absolutely absurd. All right, and this wasn't that long ago either. This was, but it wasn't that long ago, and they have just up and basically forgot. They just said, there's no growth here, and they've just pulled out completely. The contracts for Shroud and Ninja have been ended. So those guys are now free to do whatever they would like, and they still get to keep all the money. And they are allowed, and then they were offered also by Facebook, quote-unquote, double the money that they were initially offered for their Mixer contracts.
Well, yeah, isn't the whole thing like Microsoft sold everything to Facebook, basically?
No, it was, they're partnering with them. And they're what it sounds like is they're just trying to give them everything they need to get it up off the ground and running. Yeah, no, it sounds like they sold it now that I think about it more. But it's just insane to think like $20 million, have at it. Like, holy crap. Just, oh my gosh.
Honestly, I'm not surprised that Mixer failed.
I think in the short term it wasn't doing great, but projection wise it was projected to like beat Twitch in like 5 years or something.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
but projections doesn't mean anything if not enough people visit it to have the projections do anything.
But still, it was just holy crap.
But I feel like at the same time, if your projections show that, you can't just be like, you can't invest all that money up front and just be like, yeah, it didn't work in 2 months. Fuck
Well,
it.
so hang on. No. What's very important to know here is that in the same time that all this was happening, Mixer grew by 0.1%. Facebook Gaming grew by 200%. Twitch grew by 100%. YouTube Gaming grew by 100%, and Twitch grew by like 25% or something absurd. Where altogether, all of these huge companies grew by absurd amounts, and Mixer didn't see any of that. Which is just...
When is this like starting from? Is this like starting from when they took all the talent?
This is a year. Or? This is from a year. Because I think the talent signed out. Hang on. Let me. I forget the name. I forget the source, but it was like very clear that this had done nothing for Facebook. This had done nothing for Microsoft.
Huh.
Yeah. It's just holy crap.
That's weird. Well, I mean, I know Facebook was just such a small streaming service, so it makes sense that their numbers jump so.
Yeah, but like that's absolutely massive in terms of growth for
I mean,
and the fact that now that Mixer's gone, they're just poaching talent.
yeah.
Like, just holy crap. Man, oh man.
Did you see the Twitch lawsuit?
Which one?
25 million one.
For what? Because I know Twitch has become under fire for a lot of things, but I didn't realize they were getting sued by anyone.
They're being sued by a man who claims it's a complicated situation because the guy has like a bunch of disease, like I think he has like Crohn's disease and a bunch of stuff like that. So basically, he can't leave the house. And he's suing them for $25 million because he can't deal with his sex addiction.
What?
Yeah, he like spends all this time watching female streamers who are being too provocative or something.
Oh my god.
Have you really not seen anything about
No,
this?
you didn't post it in news.
Oh, here, let me go find it.
Oh my gosh.
A little late now, as we would require watching it or reading it to figure it out.
Yeah, well, I mean, just for a read later, but it's like,
That's nuts.
here, let me read. Twitch is being sued for $25 million, all because somebody thinks that they exposed him to suggestive content. Yeah. I forget that, I think, like, he got, yeah. I'll find a good article about it and post it, but...
Man, oh man, because Twitch has been banning a lot of people recently.
Yeah. I know they just banned Dr. Disrespect, and then...
Yep.
Also, Donald Trump was banned this past week.
Yeah, but he... let's not talk politics on our brand new show, yeah?
Sorry, I just meant...
all good.
Those were like the big two that I've heard of.
But they banned a lot of other smaller creators and whatnot, which I found to be rather interesting. But no, yeah. So that's very interesting in my opinion to see that they're now more or less cracking down on that kind of thing, on the people that didn't really that towed the line a bit. Oh god, I'm talking. Okay, I'll stop.
Oh, I found. So he wants 25 million, and he wants like 25 female streamers to be banned for their suggestive content.
Sounds like a dude who just wants publicity for himself.
It should also be noted he follows like 782 females and 0 males on the site.
Yeah, I have a.
And then this is the main complaints. I don't really want to say these.
I should not be clicking on that considering, but whatever. Interesting. Alright, and then, okay, so we have one console player here. Or is that person left? Because I see that their microphone is now muted.
Oh, she plays on console, really?
Alright, so Melly is
So
not...
I've just been talking for a while.
Glad you could join us.
I had to mute because Coda was barking, and that was like 5 minutes ago. Oh my god, that's... Okay, well...
Yeah, absolutely none of this is appropriate for YouTube.
But
Let's say C is a 10 out of 10. Play stupid games. Get stupid prizes.
Alright. So, you play on consoles, Melly.
yes.
So, I would like your opinion on if you had the option to purchase a new console, right? Would you buy one without a DVD drive, a disc drive?
Now, just to clarify, this can't play DVDs, or this can't play.
It
any
has no
dri-
disc
any
drive.
CDs of any sort.
Yep. No media put on a CD/DVD whatsoever.
So here's the thing. I would hate it. Just like lots of people would. But I would still buy the console if it's a next generation console. Just because it's the next generation console, there's going to be so many games that come out.
So hang on. All right, there's two different variations. It sounds like there's two different variations of each console. One that does have this and one that doesn't.
What's the price difference?
They haven't announced that yet. But what would
if there's no price difference, absolutely 100%.
No. There's going to be a price difference. Okay, let's say there's a $50 price difference. Okay, what's that do to you?
It makes me $50 more broke, and I'm gonna hate the console a little bit more, but I'm still gonna do it because, in my opinion, I have to have a CD drive.
You have to. I find that really interesting.
I mean,
Well,
I feel like a lot of consoles at this point have been going to downloading their games.
Yeah.
That's the thing though, is a lot of them have, and I understand that, but so many people, like one of my friends, he buys his games, like almost all of his games he buys used. It's like 2 weeks after the release date for any game, you're going to be able to get plenty of used games for $10 to $20 cheaper, depending on the game, just because it is a used game. I would absolutely, and like, that's basically what he does, because he has to save money somehow. And rather than downloading the games and taking up all the space on a console that 500 gigs, if you have a lot of games, that's not a lot of space. If you have a terabyte console and you have a lot of games, that's like, if you have a lot of games, that is not enough space. So there are some people, like some people who I know, they have to play with the DVDs and CDs and stuff just because it's not viable for them to not have one.
Okay.
On a strange tangent of that,
And me personally,
you
I
don't
like
technically
watching
own the
videos.
game. By law, you don't own a digital copy of a game.
We don't? Oh.
No.
Like, if you die, you can't pass it on to someone else.
Ah.
So, and if for some reason, I don't think this is likely for most people, but if for some reason you get, like, banned from a service, you could just lose any games on that service.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Good to know.
So, I mean, technically, it's easier to have an online game, but it's also much more risky. I mean, I don't know about the banning thing, but I'm assuming death happens to us all.
uh. Hmm. And here I was thinking that all of these were mine for life. Oh well.
Yeah, like technically it's illegal for you to, like, pass on a Steam password to someone in a will or something. I think that actually happened.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh, that is...
Because you're not allowed to do that because you don't own it.
That's fascinating. Now that I know that.
Oh, I think that robot that I saw earlier is actually a water tower.
Not the brightest bulb in the box, are you? Man, oh man. Oh. How did you confuse the two?
Because it was just the outline that I saw.
I guess that's a fair answer.
Liberty Prime is, I think, actually in the game.
Liberty
Well, it's
Prime
right
is
next
in the
to a
game.
blimp.
I know for a fact Liberty Prime is in the game.
But I think you have to go down the Brotherhood path in order to run into him.
Yeah,
'Cause
which
then-
I'm not dealing with that right now. I'm just doing a ton of side quests.
I can't
'Cause
do with the voice, but
that's
you need to
how
watch
you-
your profanity.
Watch your profanity.
Right, I'm sorry.
Right, yeah.
Ugh. Dear
Uh,
God. Oh, Cyberpunk 2077 delayed again. No surprises there, unfortunately.
F.
like again, or the same delay that?
Till November. I'm not sure if
19th.
that's again for you.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Cyberpunk 2077. I'm not sure if I've seen that at all.
Cyberpunk 20.
Wait. At all?
Cyberpunk
Cyberpunk.
2077
I saw it a
is
little
actually
bit
not
when
coming
I-
out till 2077. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, dang it.
Wait.
Keanu Reeves?
You have.
Oh.
I have
What?
not seen. I haven't seen anything about it till today.
This
I saw
is
it when I looked up the
very
game,
interesting to me that you have basically no idea what that is. Huh.
Why? Why is it interesting? Like, just because? Does it seem like something I'd play, or?
Huh. Because it
It's
is.
something
It's
that's
been so
been
advertised.
It is
Yeah.
one of the biggest names and whatnot in gaming. That's what. That's.
It's not big in the MOBA community.
I guess that's fair. That is your kind of shtick, but like. Huh.
I mean,
Now you got that stuck in my head, Brian. This stupid watch your profanity.
I'm looking at. I mean, oh, it's from the creators of Witcher.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, how have I not heard about that?
Yeah. Like. That's very
Project
interesting.
Dread or CD.
I thought I was the
Dread or
only
whatever
one
it
who
is.
wasn't paying too much attention to it, but that was mostly because my computer can't run it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I need to stay more up to date on like games that are coming out and whatnot.
That's why this exists.
I am absolutely terrible at. Yeah,
See, and I was just
yeah.
thinking
Go
about
fire cannon.
downloading some games that had
Dang it, can't.
come out a while ago.
Ooh.
Oh wait, this
Oops.
game
Oh.
just came out.
I just put a random artillery in the middle of my base.
Oh.
Are you just? Is this just you learning about the game for the first time?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm going. I was looking at some of the. I don't think I've ever actually bought games during the Steam sale before, like other than like like big games like PUBG or Rainbow Six. Like those I bought during the sale, but I've never actually gone through and looked at some of the smaller games.
And now you're going through and looking at some of the smaller games.
Yeah, or like games I've seen streamers that I like play, and I was like, ah, that looks like fun, and now I see them for like $5. I'm like, ah, yes. The two biggest ones being Celeste and Ori and the Blind Forest. Both look like very good games. They're platformers, but
As someone who isn't a fan of platformers.
How many people are here?
they look so beautifully made, though.
I guess you could be the sightseer, but to me, I need a bit more in my games.
Have you heard of these? Or have
Oh
you
yeah,
seen
of
them?
course. I've heard of Ori. The critic I follow really didn't like it because the story was just middlingly, he
Meh.
said. And then Celeste, the only thing I know about Celeste is that my friend is a speedrunner for it.
Oh,
Um,
there you go.
he wasn't very good at it. Because the one time I told him what the current world record was, he's like, well, that's about 10 minutes faster than what I thought it was.
That's tough.
So, yeah. Alright. Do we have anything else that we would like to talk about? Otherwise, I think we can call the episode there.
There's something I wanted to talk about, but then I got distracted with how slow my character is moving because I'm over encumbered.
If you'd
I've
like
just
to
been
share with us what that
Fuming
actually...
about that for the past. So no, I'm good.
Okay.
Does anyone play any MMORPGs with like New World and whatnot coming out?
Are you talking about the frickin'...
The Amazon one?
Yeah. No, I played Guild Wars 2 for a little while, and it was...
And RuneScape back in the day.
God, I threw a lot of my life away in RuneScape, I will say that. But no, No.
You know what? Get over here.
I guess that's the last topic then.
Alright, that was our crappy episode. We'll be back next week because we have to be... hopefully we'll have decent news and much more better conversation next time. Alright.
Oh, no. Your, simulator Battle Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
VR. VR Star Wars.
Yep.
Do we want to talk about that at all, or did we already discuss that enough during our...
I mean, we can do that now. So it isn't 100% VR, you know. It can be VR.
That was, like, the main thing that I got out of that, is that it would look amazing in VR.
Oh yeah. Like, when I talk with my friends, I'm like, I want two kinds of VR games. I want, if you guys know the game Steep, which is a game in which you are...
Isn't that a snowboarding game?
Yep. I want that. Well, the big thing you have is you have wingsuits, and I want a game where you can fly around on a wingsuit. I think that would be just super sick and cool. And so I want that in a game. I also want, the other game I want is flying games, like Ace Combat or this new Star Wars game. I want those into, I would like those both in whatchamacallit. In VR. Those are the two things where I'm like, that would be super sick in VR. But
Yeah, but didn't you get sick off of just Space Engineers?
I get horribly motion sick in a lot of games. I get motion sick in Half-Life.
Okay, but wouldn't in VR flying make it worse?
It depends. Certain game I haven't done enough VR. Like, I don't know. Like, it just sounds so cool. Like,
Oh, that's all that matters. If it sounds cool.
look, man.
I'm just trying to not keep your hopes too high.
Yeah. No, I would.
Just because I saw that, like, when I was watching that trailer, though, like, they were describing all the types of spaceships and stuff.
Yep.
Just when they were saying the gameplay and, like, this is how the gameplay looks, that looked awesome. And then they got into, like, oh, you can choose between these two styles of ships for the... Because I was never into any Star Wars. I've never played a single Star Wars game at all, so...
Haven't you
This
not
might-
seen the films as well?
We don't need to talk about that.
Okay, that's right. I couldn't
No,
remember
but
you had or hadn't, but
No, but... So, when we're talking about all the different types of... Like, these are the heavy hitters. These are the speedy boys. These are
Speedy boys.
like the big defense guys. Like I was just going through there, and I don't know how to describe it. Felt like it was gonna be one of those like just in not Destiny. Did any of you play like Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah.
You played Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah. When I was much younger and went to a babysitter's house.
Ah.
Not the original one, but it was basically one where you were able to like design your own starship. I think it was like Up Your Arsenal or something like that.
I can't remember if that's the one I played on PS2 or not.
Oh, I forgot you had a PS2 for so long. Like, man.
Still have it. What do you mean?
Well, because part of that game was, hey, if you want to like fly around in a starship and do like, it had a couple of missions where you were in a spaceship going around shooting things, and part of the game was you got to design your own spaceship and like give the modifications and stuff. I always hated that part of the game just because I always just wanted my ship to look cool. And all of the accessories that they had that made your ship better just never looked good. And when they were going through and being like, oh, you can have these little bobbleheads on your pilot or like on your dash, or you can make your ship look like this, but you're in first person when you're flying around, so you're never gonna see yourself. It just seemed kind of pointless to me, and I was I don't know. So it sounds sort of fun,
but you worry about customization.
Yes. Because what I think looks good typically doesn't do well mechanically.
Well, I don't know how much physical difference, because I think you can customize your weapons, I think?
Yep.
I don't think that'll do much physically to change the game's appearance. So I think you're gonna be alright in that sense.
You'd be surprised. It'd be...
I'm just thinking about, sorry. If anybody listens to this and it's just like, why is she just like in the future when the game is out and they listen to this and they're just like, she compared this to Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal, which I think was released in like 2004 or something like that. It's such an obscure, just like, why did that even come up kind of thing? But like that was one of the only things that I could think about when I was watching, and plus that trailer was way too long. Like when I was watching, it was like a 5-minute trailer, and whatever the narrator just kept talking and talking. It's just like, okay, tell me the main premise, and
I think the solution is you need to watch it in double speed.
Because it was way too long. It was just going too slow, and I got sick of watching the trailer. Like I was bored watching the trailer.
Something slightly off topic. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm impressed that you knew the release year of Ratchet and Clank. I looked it up. That was correct.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That was a total guess.
November 2nd or 3rd of 2004 is when it came out.
Yeah. Fuck. What was next? Was it Up Your Arsenal or Going Commando? That was the next one.
I don't know.
I think it was Up Your Arsenal was in 2000 and...
Well, Up Your Arsenal was 2004. Like.
5? Because Up Your Arsenal was like the second one, and they didn't release the second one in the same year that they released the first one.
Well, no, Up Your Arsenal is the one you originally made the comment about, right?
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought you were saying like the original Ratchet and Clank came out in 2004.
Oh no, Up Your Arsenal. Up Your Arsenal was the one that came out in 2004. I specifically looked up that one.
I know my Ratchet and Clank lore, man.
Apparently, man.
Oof. That's such a weird. Like that series went in such a weird direction after 3, I want to say. Just because, like, the first 2 games is like, you're this guy, this is the evil guy, go fight evil guy's forces on these islands, or on these planets, go fight the evil guy on this planet. That's it. Second one, you're on this planet, this is the evil guy, go, like, it was the same thing. And then, like, after that, like, Ratchet Deadlock was just, you're in a battle arena kind of thing, and you're supposed to fight for your life. What was it, like, A Crank in Time was literally, like, there's a new not Oni, or, no, maybe it was Oni. Omnix, or something like that, was, like, a new alien species that controlled time in, like, the chronosphere and stuff like that. And it was just weird. I mean, I played, like, all of them, but still, it just went in a weird tangent. They re-released that game, right? Like, the first one?
I don't know. Like on the PS4 or something?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they...
It wouldn't surprise me, that's for sure.
Okay. This is a super obscure game, but I remember playing Tak 2, the Staff of Dreams, or Tak and the Power of Juju.
Yep,
something
I
like
remember that.
That is such an obscure game that just, like, it just popped back in my head in these past couple of months, and I have been looking for that stupid, like, I don't even know what the story was. I just remember the big purple guys that their belly was their mouth. And it was just a great game. Like, I have no idea what the story was. There was no big bad guy that I can remember. I just remember you went around, you collected, like, mana and stuff like that, and there was this big purple guy whose mouth was his belly. And I think his name was Belly, or something like Belli or something like that. That was a great game. Anyway, that was a weird tangent.
As I say,
Hey,
meanwhile, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
Did you just say and I?
Said, but
Oh,
Magic and I.
Alright, if you wanna shut down the show, you can.
Alright, thanks
That
for
was a weird
dropping in.
We're done.
We'll be back, or we won't. Who knows? Goodbye.